House prices no longer align with household income. The odds of someone qualifying for a home based off their income, I honestly think it's less than 50%. House prices are so high, wages and income have stagnated. We can look at charts, right? The working person can no longer buy a home just based off, let's say, for example, if they tried to save for a down payment and use their income to qualify. They're dependent on, in many cases, their own investment acumen, right? Making really strong investments and building up money. Very hard to do, actually, right? They're dependent on that. They're dependent on, being like an engineer or a doctor and making, 200K plus a year, right? Or what else are they dependent on? Generational wealth. But what if you don't have the generational pass down, right? And what if you're not an engineer or a doctor? Should you not have the opportunity to own a home? You go to school, you get educated, you get a job, you're trying to save money, you're trying to get into the housing market, you're trying to build wealth for your family, and that's closing off for like a lot of people right now. I love real estate. I believe in it. I think that everyone should have the opportunity to own, and to see that becoming less and less of a case, especially here in Canada, it's a little bit disappointing and concerning. A lot of people are going to have to adjust and make alternative investments in order to even make home ownership a reality.
I even remember, even through my lifetime, like around 2010, even before that, people were feeling that we're in a housing bubble and we need to definitely not purchase anything because this thing is about to crash. And then the next 10 years go by and we're like in the same zone. And probably if I speak to somebody older than myself, they'll recount some stories like that in the past as well. And traditionally, in the past, mortgages used to be smaller. The idea of having $1 million mortgages that are commonplace these days would sound outrageous to somebody that perhaps is one generation behind us. And if you actually do the math on the long tail interest lump sums that you will have delivered by the end of your amortization period, it's eye-opening and jaw-dropping sometimes, right? So we almost like sometimes want to be a little bit ignorant about how much are we actually paying for these assets, right? So-called assets.
Definitely.
Do you feel like what's happening now is different from the real estate turbulations that we had in previous years?
It's just a continuation of the same stuff. Ultimately, it's tricky. Like let's say, for example, my parents and my aunts and uncles, they're to some degree kind of like stem from like the boomer generation or just after, right? They don't have the same issues that we're faced with today, right? They bought their homes based off their income and their homes incrementally went up. And now all of a sudden, things just, skyrocketed. You can look at all the charts, right? It's just evident. What is driving these increases? So like there's so many things, and I'm by no means like an economist or like a licensed real estate expert or anything like that. But I do have a read on it, and I know that there's certain things that are just not right about it. But I think like ultimately, obviously what's driving it is immigration and foreign money. And like everyone, especially here in Canada, like everyone wants to come here, right? Because it is a stable and safe place to be. People will do anything and everything to get their hands on a property here. And obviously there's also the supply and demand thing, right? This is important for us to talk about. People keep on talking about how there's not enough supply and there's a lot more demand. And it's celebrated like it's a great thing. That's why house prices are going up. Okay. So when are we going to actually do something about the supply? Because the builders aren't building to help, balance out supply and demand. They're building to like maximize the profits on whatever they're building, right? And I understand construction costs are high right now too. The government isn't doing enough to, curb the lack of supply. So now we need to come up with new solutions. What are we going to do to like address the supply issue? We have all these people coming in. We have all these people that have been born here and educated here, and they want a chance at the Canadian dream. What are we going to do to like make that happen? New solutions need to be executed. I haven't really seen them come to fruition. I almost feel like to some degree, I might have to be the guy that's going to have to start, talking to people and figuring it out. And if it's not me, then it's got to be someone, because the continuation of whatever is going on right now, like it's just going to like end up really bad. Like our kids won't be able to accomplish anything without us ultimately. And that's not ideal, and in America, that's not the case right now. You can go get a good education in America and find a nice place to live without freezing your butt off for, 300,000 US, right? So it's not a global thing, but it's certainly an issue that exists in Canada and many other countries. And obviously there's multiple forces behind it. But let's here in Canada, let's figure out solutions to balance things out and give everybody like a fair chance at home ownership again.